KOMU 8 News at noon starts with breaking news.
Columbia Public Schools have officially picked Dr. Peter Stiepelman as the new superintendent. Good afternoon, I'm Angie Bailey. Just a few minutes ago, we received news from Columbia Public Schools announcing Stiepelman will serve as superintendent starting July 1st, 2014. Stiepelman's currently the assistant superintendent for elementary education at Columbia Public Schools. Many remember him probably around town from when he was a teacher at Derby Ridge Elementary originally, then served in the assistant principal and principal capacity at West Boulevard Elementary, and then of course more recently as assistant superintendent. The school board got 18 applications in total and then narrowed that search down to 2 finalists now today. Peter Stiepelman, the new superintendent of schools in Columbia. MU students, staff, and faculty who depend on university daycare want a new place to take their kids. The group plans to collect signatures for a petition this afternoon. KOMU 8's Leanne Denier spoke with more on what the university plans to do with the current daycare.
Student parents say the university must provide a new daycare as soon as possible. Chancellor Lofton announced Wednesday the current Parent-Student Center and the rest of University Village would be demolished this summer. The parents petitioning today want the university to make finding and opening a new daycare center a priority. They plan to collect signatures this afternoon near Ellis Library. One parent says they chose to meet on campus because while people may not need the services now, they might in the future.
They don't know what this resource might mean to them 2 years from now, 4 years from now, and what this resource might mean for other international students who might want to go to MU but might decide not to because there is not a student parent center.
Chancellor Lofton announced Wednesday tenants at University Village must move out by June 30th. A walkway collapsed earlier last month, killing Columbia firefighter Lieutenant Bruce Britt.
A Mexico mother accused of locking her kids in a feces-covered room earlier this year entered a not guilty plea today in Audrain Circuit Court. April Davis faces 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a child and 3 counts of abuse or neglect of a child. The probable cause statement says when the state's Children's Division visited her home late last year, it was dirty and littered with pet urine and feces on the floor. The documents say the 2 smallest children's door was locked from the outside with a rope on the door to then secure it. Her next court date is set for March 31st. Drunk drivers could find themselves unlucky this St. Patrick's Day. Law enforcement agencies around the state will put more officers on the road as part of a crackdown on drunk driving. The operation will go on from March 14th until March 17th. About 200 law enforcement agencies are taking part. Missouri law enforcement did a similar operation last year and arrested 412 drunk drivers in Missouri. The victim of the infamous Utah kidnapping will visit Columbia today to speak at the University of Missouri. A homeless street preacher kidnapped Elizabeth Smart and kept her for 9 months when she was just 14 years old. Smart is now an advocate for abducted and missing children and will be at the MU bookstore for a book signing before her evening lecture at Jesse Auditorium. Admission is free to students and $10 for the public. Tigers have just tipped off against an SEC rival, that is Florida. Let's check in with KOMU's India Everett, who's live at the Georgia Dome with more.
The Missouri-Florida game is set to begin in just moments. So far, we're still waiting for that tip-off. The last time that these 2 teams faced off, Missouri fell to Florida in a 68-58 Missouri loss. They suffered some especially hard hits from Michael Frazier II, sinking quite a few threes on the Tigers. Florida has been ranked #1 in the nation for 3 straight weeks now, and they're still undefeated in conference play. This is going to be their first game today at the SEC tournament. Yesterday, Missouri beat Texas A&M in a double overtime victory. If the Tigers were to secure another victory this afternoon, they would send the Florida Gators home back to Florida. Although if it's a Missouri loss, Missouri's going to have to go home as well. We're going to have live coverage from you from the SEC tournament at 5, 6, 9, and 10 o'clock. Live in Atlanta for the Mizzou Extra, India Everett, KOMU 8 News.
Nearly a week after it disappeared, there are still no traces of the Malaysia Airlines jet with 239 people on board. Today, U.S. officials are pursuing theories that someone caused the disappearance of the plane and it may have been an act of piracy. Also today, a senior Malaysian government official said his country was working with U.S. investigators to see if there was any satellite information that could help locate the missing airliner. Ships and aircrafts from a dozen countries have been searching the seas across Southeast Asia for signs of the plane. Crews have removed the U.S. Airways plane that aborted takeoff in Philadelphia Thursday night. Flight 1702 was headed to Fort Lauderdale around 6:30 when the front tire blew out, sending the front of the plane into the ground. The Airbus 320 was carrying 149 people and 5 crew members. One passenger had a minor injury. Early this morning, a crane lifted the plane's nose and moved it to another part of the airport where safety inspectors will investigate. The Centers for Auto Safety say there were 303 deaths in recalled GM cars after airbags didn't deploy, but GM says the safety group's report misrepresents crash data. The automaker says an ignition switch defect caused cars to shut off while driving, disabling the airbags. GM linked the problem to at least 12 deaths. In a statement, the company says the safety group's conclusions are, quote, pure speculation. GM is conducting an investigation into that faulty switch. Documents indicate General Motors was aware of a problem at least 9 years ago. The recall was not issued until last month. Colorado's new recreational marijuana tax could mean more money for residents even if they don't participate in the industry. Colorado's taxpayer bill of rights sets limits on taxes and government spending. If the government collected more than expected, a refund could be issued. Due to the recent legalization of marijuana, budget advisors say a refund could be as much as $100 million, but there is a chance the state might not collect as much marijuana taxes as expected, or voters could allow the state to keep the money. We won't know whether there will be a refund until the coming fiscal year closes, and that's not until June of 2015. You may want to you may want to talk to your teenagers about getting a job. Young Americans face the toughest job market on record. Only 26% of teenagers ages 16 to 19 had a job in 2011, according to a Brookings Institution study. That's down from 45% back in 2000. Researchers found 61% of 20 to 24-year-olds were employed in 2011 compared to 72% back in the year 2000. The study blames the trends partially on the educational system. The report's co-author says high schools should better prepare students for college coursework. This morning, crews from Omaha, Nebraska worked to put out a fire that may have been caused by a gas explosion. Take a look at the video shot by a police officer. You can see the fireball quite easily in the sky after that explosion. The fire was called in about 9 in the morning. No reports of injuries. Set to release this afternoon, more documents showing what it was like in the White House during the end of President Clinton's term. Talking about more than 4,000 pages of documents. They're related to the 2000 presidential campaign and the Florida recount, among other things. The documents have been held under seal since Clinton left office. Another pretty day out there. I heard Kenton saying over there that the clouds will be clearing up. Some sunshine will pop out, but it's plenty warm, and we're looking like it's going to be a great afternoon. Let's check in with him.
That's exactly right, Angie. We are very warm out there. For this time of the year anyway, this morning we only saw low temperatures in the mid-40s. Didn't even break 30 degrees. Very nice morning for us, and it's going to be a nice afternoon as well. As Angie said, the clouds will be on the way out and warmer temperatures are on the way in. 45 this morning in Columbia, 48 in Kirksville. And looking at our satellite radar, we can see those few clouds, but you look in the northern viewing area there, seeing less cloud cover. All these clouds are moving down to the south, maybe even a few sprinkles in the Jeff City, Osage Beach area, but really most of that probably isn't even falling down to the ground. Not expecting anything today. Otherwise, temperature-wise, we're already in the 60s, 60 degree right now in Columbia, 61 in Jeff City, 48 in Versailles, 63 in Boonville, and 57 in Moberly. Wind-wise, though, about 22 mile an hour in Columbia, so we are seeing a little bit heavier winds. Definitely don't want to be burning anything outside today if you don't have to. There's a little bit of a fire danger out there. Looking at our hourly forecast, you can see those clouds moving away and warmer temperatures moving in. I'll talk more about that coming up in just a bit, including your St. Patrick's Day weekend forecast.
Pot and pets causing major problems. What's to blame for a rise in marijuana problems for puppies?